approved by the HRB, tabled this because we wanted to get some more information provided to Jessica, and then also for Jessica to respond. And so I would ask, I guess, Jessica at this point, and maybe Audrey, to weigh in on the information we've received since we tabled this, what the recommendation is.
Sure, I don't mind to go first here. I was able to get the information that was submitted to Rashay and the HRB folks, and in the meantime, Fred had changed to a more natural dry rock type wall that's more historic, that more in the historic review guidelines. But I think in the original application, this was not, they didn't realize that the wall was proposed on the right of way. So the way I am viewing this request is just like an encroachment for a driveway or other encroachment into public right of way. And based on the height of the proposed wall and the location that he's proposing, it's going to need to end in that right of way area just prior to that 25-foot yard setback kind of line if you were to continue it on to the back of the curb. I don't see any issue with creating any barrier for sight distance. Sight distance is not going to be really affected or changed. There's no utilities in this area except as Raspberry Alley connects to North First Street. There is a water line there, but again, because the wall will be stopping well ahead of that alley, there should not be any impact with that as well. So again, I'm viewing this just as an encroachment and making sure that there's no other issue with interference or impedance with any safety concerns. And because the grade of this slope, it's always been troublesome for the property owners to maintain that slope. So again, the slope is already creating a natural barrier with North First Street as it is. So I don't see any other concern with this location. But part of that would be that approval is contingent upon entering into a maintenance agreement that says that the maintenance of this wall is perpetually the property owner, the person requesting the improvement to maintain. And again, that's consistent with all other encroachments that we permit, such as driveways and entrances. It's up to that property owner to maintain that entrance.
So is that the only condition we need to add to this COA, is the maintenance agreement?
I believe so. That's the way I understand it. Audrey might be able to weigh in a little bit more on that part.
Yes, Mayor, I think that's correct. That, part of the holdup was that, there was some confusion when this was presented to the Historic Review Board about where it was going to be located. I don't think they realized until after they'd already voted on it that it was actually going to be in the city's right of way. The only thing I think is, I don't know if Jessica can maybe address this. It seems like the way I understand it is this is just a decorative wall. It's not actually serving like a retaining wall purpose. So we would certainly want to make sure that the maintenance agreement that we sign with him is very, very clear that we're not in any way responsible for maintaining this, even though it is would be on our right of way.
Agreed.
Okay. So go ahead, Jessica.
Agreed. And this wall is not providing any real benefit other than the aesthetic point for the wall. It's not serving in really changing the grade from the wall down to the back of the curb. It's not really making any improvement for the right of way itself with respect to a public use. So again, that's really the only things I would add.
Okay. Has any of the council members got any questions of Jessica or Audrey on this?
I guess, Mayor,
Yeah,
I have a couple of questions.
I do too, David. Go ahead.
One of the things that was stated is it's an aesthetic wall. So does that mean, and the way I understand it is they're going to match the grade behind the wall to try to level out their yard. So, I mean, it would have to be a substantial, probably a pretty substantial wall with like an aesthetic stone, I guess, placed on the outer side of the wall. Is that true, Jessica?
What they've proposed is a footer layout, and then this wall going behind it. Once I looked at the elevations that they were, again, I'm only going by what they're presenting me and what they had flagged out at one point in time in Richey's application of where the wall would be located. It's not proposed to go down near the sidewalk or near the back of the curb. The amount of height behind this wall is at max. It's looking like 20 inches. So I'm not seeing, other than just flattening out a little bit near the top where the slope is kind of rolling at the yard where they're currently already mowing, nice and short. It's kind of looking like where that's proposing to go. It's not looking like that wall is being placed in the area where it's more kind of just weeded or gets a little higher, a little more, what's the right word I'm looking for?
I understand.
Yeah,
and I guess
I'm not sure
the second part of my question, I guess, and I think I read in there that would be filed with the clerk's office, or the maintenance agreement would be filed with the clerk's office. So I guess any subsequent property owners would have to adhere to the same agreement. And then I guess I had three parts of the question. Since it's in the city right away, is there any legal issues, I guess, that we would be faced with if there were, just say, a traffic accident or something like that, since this was placed in our right of way?
So yes, Councilman Jones, it would be filed with the clerk's office. So if someone did a title search, on the property, if and when they were to sell the property, that agreement would run with the property. So a subsequent property owner would be responsible for maintaining it. I guess that you're thinking like if someone runs off the road and runs into the wall or something like that. I think it's
Correct.
pretty far up in their yards. I think it would be fairly unlikely, but I don't think that we would retain any legal responsibility for that. We could potentially put some kind of language in the agreement, that addressed that as well. But I don't see that being an issue.
Okay, thank you. I'm finished, Joe. Sorry.
Well, wouldn't that be about the same? Wouldn't that be about the same principle as the property owners on Broadway, where the Broadway comes into the front of those people's property owners are basically in the right of way on Broadway too? Isn't that basically the same thing we're talking about? Or Audrey,
Yeah, I think so.
On Broadway, the front lawns of those people on Broadway, a lot of those are in the city right away also, and they've signed an agreement. Basically, they maintain it.
Sure.
As long as
Yeah, and I guess my question is just simply because we're building a structure on it, and just was pertaining to building the structure on it, and that's what my question had to do with. And I guess it would be the same as a tree or anything in that right of way. So.
Sure, I think that's true, Councilman. I mean, I think it would be different if the city, for some reason, needed to put this, put a true retaining wall there for some reason relating to our utilities or something like that, and we went out and had a contractor come and build the wall, as opposed to the homeowner building it.
Gotcha.
Joe, do you have questions?
Well, David, one of his first questions that I was concerned too about, if you backfilled against it, if it would hold without having a concrete wall behind it, and like we did repair, Jessica, remember how we repaired down on East Broadway? And that was a question at the time, is who is responsible for that? And the city did take the responsibility to put that wall back there, but that's in that green area again on Broadway. But my real concern was, do they need to put a concrete wall behind, up first and then stone to it, just so it will hold and look nice and stay nice? But that's the only concern I really had.
Right.
And of course, and the color of the stone, I think, is really important. Most of that stone around through there is, if you look at the walls before that, and then the Hawkins yard, that's all that limestone look, which really looks nice in there, but that's probably a little bit out of what we do here. But I think that selection of stone is going to be important.
what I saw, if you saw those pictures in the application that, or what Fred sent, is it more of a dry stone, a laid fence like what's out on Stephen Foster. That's what I saw, what it looks like to me,
Right.
up near
Well-
Kurtz's restaurant and further on east on Stephen Foster. I think it's more of a dry stone look.
Well, and I saw that picture too, which, yeah, I've just making sure that the rock looks nice with what's around there. And I think, doesn't he already have a rock wall partially in the front of his lot too? Up
Yeah,
on the
he does.
side?
Mhm.
Yeah.
He does.
Yes, he
And,
does.
Assuming that'll blend with that, but that's, like I said, that's probably the Historic Review Board's department, not ours. So,
yeah. I'm trying to stay out of that part of it.
Yeah.
And again, to your point, Joe, the wall on Broadway back several years ago that was falling. I think the part of the problem there is we didn't really have a record to go back and see who actually put up the wall, to know if it was a property owner or if it was done by the city at the time that a sidewalk was constructed. Right now, I kind of looked down First Street to see if there was a likelihood or how feasible it would be in the future to try to put a sidewalk along North First Street. And because that grade is so steep, and if you continue across Raspberry Alley and continue south towards Stephen Foster, you'll kind of see towards Flagey, there's actually on that higher elevation there, a garage. So that would even further prevent us from making it not impossible, but much more challenging to try to get a sidewalk established along First Street in that route. So I was kind of trying to look at the topography and everywhere. If there was ever going to be a walk, it's going to most likely have to go on the opposite side of the street.
Yeah, and that's common throughout the city. We've got several areas where we only have a sidewalk on one side, either the east or west side or the north and south side of the given street. So that's not uncommon. Any other conversation on this? Okay, if not, I would ask for a motion then to approve COA 20-37 with the conditions that the homeowners execute a maintenance agreement that will be recorded as a permanent maintenance agreement for the upkeep and maintenance of that wall going forward. And I'd be happy for Audrey or Jessica to add anything to that condition that I just spoke to.
so that'll pass on to, if it were a new owner, that would pass on to the new owner. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I need a motion then for COA 20-37 with conditions.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I have a motion
Joe.
for Councilman Buckman. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second for Councilman Jones. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you all. Okay, the next one shouldn't take as much time. We've got a second reading. I'd ask of our budget amendment for fiscal year 2020, if Audrey would read the summary.
Okay. A summary of ordinance B 2009, an ordinance amending and adopting as amended ordinance number B 2019-07, the city of Bardstown's budget ordinance for the fiscal year July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Whereas an annual budget for fiscal year 2019 through 2020 was adopted by the City Council of the City of Bardstown on June 26, 2019. And whereas there have been unanticipated changes in both revenues and expenditures during that period of time. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Bardstown, Kentucky, that Section 1, the annual budget for the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 be and is hereby amended as follows. Number 1, General Fund, decrease anticipated revenues from $12,457,650 to $11,243,823, and decrease authorized expenditures from $11,701,456 to $11,092,071. Number 2, combined utilities fund, decrease the anticipated revenues from $51,537,500 to $41,729,073, and decrease expenditures from $50,347,786 to $41,395,520. Section 2, the annual budget hereby amended and attached hereto, reflecting the above referenced amendments to the general and combined utilities funds, revenues, and expenditures that comprise the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 budget for the city of Bardstown. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are hereby repealed to the extent of that conflict. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect following publication as required by law. The summary was certified by Audrey Hayden, City Attorney.
All right, thank you, Audrey. This is a second reading, so I do need a motion to approve the ordinance B 2020-09. It's an
Dick,
ordinance
Can I
amending.
ask a quick question? I
Yes.
think we've got the date June 26th because that's going to be the date that it's going to be. Is that going to be the date that it's going to be in the standard?
I would ask,
It was June 26th. We're referencing that is because that was the date that it was adopted last year when we adopted the budget. Are you talking about at the beginning where we talk about we
Yeah.
adopted the budget on 20?
Yeah.
So we finalized the budget for fiscal year 2019 through 2020 on June 26th of 2019. So we're
Okay.
amending the final version of that ordinance
Okay.
that was adopted as of that date.
Before we put the numbers into this year's budget. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just curious. Okay. Answer my question.
any other, okay, we'll have a chance for more discussion. I need a motion then to approve ordinance B 2020-09, which is the ordinance amending and adopting an amended ordinance for the city of Bardstown's budget fiscal year July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2020.
I'll make
So
that
move,
motion.
Mayor.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Williams and a second by Councilman Hibbs. Any other questions or discussion? This is a second reading, so seeing none, I'll ask you to, all in favor to signify by saying aye, starting with Councilman Hibbs,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hart,
Aye.
Councilman Buckman,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Shekels,
Aye.
Councilman Dones.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried and our fiscal year 2020 has been amended and cleaned up. Okay, that's everything we have on our agenda for today. So again, we had this meeting per the guidelines of our Attorney General due to the coronavirus, and it was aired on PLG and Channel 20 and 21 and our YouTube page here at the city. So we did that all in compliance there on this special call meeting. So thank you all and have a good day. Appreciate you all giving us this time at noon. I know everybody's on a tight schedule. Thank you.
Thank
Motion
you.
to
Thank you,
adjourn.
I
Mayor.
need a mo, I
Thank
need a
you, Mayor.
motion for adjournment, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Motion by Councilwoman Hart, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Shekels. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.